Well, the sun is up and the top is down. It's springtime in New England, and that means it's time for some hot dog stories. Today, I'm on my way to Bellingham, Massachusetts to visit Larry Joe's New England Fire Pit. I arrived about 5 minutes before Larry got there, and I got to see the fire pit roll into the parking lot. Then I went over and chatted him up. Hi. I'm here at Larry Joe's New England Fire Pit today, and we're going to spend some time here, watch him cook some hot dogs, listen to his story. Hey Larry, you mind if we come in?
Sure, Rob, come on in.
So when do you start cooking all the food in the morning?
Oh, I turn this on at 9, between 9 and 9:30. Usually 9:15-ish. This, see, has to be going.
So everything's ready when you pull up.
Right.
One very interesting thing about Larry is his relationship with Boston Speed. Boston Speed is a hot dog man who sold hot dogs in downtown Boston out of a ramshackle old trailer for over 30 years. His trailer is still in existence, although someone else runs it now. And Boston Speed dogs are considered by many as the best hot dogs in the country, if not the world. Well, Larry Joe is going to try and change that. I want you to talk about your apprenticeship with Speed.
Absolutely.
Because that's the real history here. I mean, he's a legend in Boston.
He and I happen to belong to the same church. And Speed had thought he wanted at one time to expand his business. And business process modeling and that whole idea of taking a small concept and expanding it was something I was working on personally because I was looking for business, and so we thought we might do that. Speed had gotten to the point, he had done several different kinds of sandwiches at his, what he calls it, the wagon. The kitchen he calls it wagon. He'd done several different sandwiches there, but he had gone back to just the hot dog, and personally, at his age, I got with him when he was 85 years old. His speed wasn't speed. Folks teased him a lot, says, why do they call you Speed? And he would say, because I'm so slow. But the real truth of the matter is, and I'm going to put this on record, when he came out of school way back when, he was a young man, he was a quarter miler, and he was the second fastest quarter miler, I understand, on the East Coast. They called him the East Coast Speed.
And how long did he do hot dogs for?
When I was with Speed, he had been doing hot dogs for 30 years on the streets of Boston.
Right.
And he had known these same folks that we're using who are making hot dogs for 25 of those years, I believe, or roughly that. I can't be specific about that, but that's his business, not mine. I can just tell you what he told me. But I'll tell you one thing he did tell me that I really appreciate. He said, if you go out here and do a business like this, you're going to be tempted to change that sandwich, because all the other fast food and sandwich people are going to be making one sandwich or another sandwich and adding this and making the sandwich different, more different. He said, this hot dog came from the Roosevelt White House, when the cooks in the White House were all black. He was privileged to learn when he worked with them on the Pullman car service coast to coast and at the Greenbrier. They told him this is how they would make a hot dog. When someone said to the president, would say to the president, so what's typical American cooking? Usually some foreign dignitary, probably European, who said something sort of snidely, because that's how they talked to Americans back then. And Roosevelt, understanding that you could take a person who knew something and you elevate them a bit, knowing they understood Frankfurters, or what we call Frankfurters, I think the Germans call them brats, would say something like, well, you you should see what we've done with the German broth. And then he would give them one of these hot dogs prepared by those Virginia black cooks, Southern black cooks. I grew up in Arkansas. The only thing I've changed is I've added hickory wood. I don't know what wood they used. They could have used hickory. They might have used, but Speed used hardwood, regular oak charcoal. I like hickory because from where I grew up, hickory is one of the best tasting. I mean, you can cook on apple wood, you can cook on mesquite, you can cook on cedar, you can cook on all those other woods. But hickory has the softest taste that you'll come back for. That's why I chose it. But, you know what, I can tell you this. Bob Camelio at Pearl is the CEO over there, and the owner is John Brown, and the fellow who's retired, Vinnie Peroni, who also is owner, and the guy who runs the loading dock, Sean, Peggy in accounting, Donna on the desk, they are really helpful. Bob Jr., I mean, they are very custom-oriented folks. They knew I had a problem, that this week I needed some hot sausages, so they bent a little bit in, and see, it's Friday morning. They did this yesterday. Usually they do them on a Friday so they can clean up for the next week. They serviced me better than you put some spices in it. And he said, well, I don't know how much spices to put in. Their response was, you put the spices in, we'll tell you when. As a result, he spiced it up, and over a few weeks, they got the taste, like folks say, and I have folks who come here who grew up in Jamaica, they got the taste just right. And I've got people who say this tastes just like home. You're looking at some of the best hot dog meat, I believe, on the planet. I believe it so much I'm wearing the hat. I've got a logo over here on the side, and it's the only product I serve here. Pearl brand meat, mozzarella, Italian. It's not a New England Italian hot. It's hotter than that. So you've got to know that you like spicy meat. You're going to go that route. Because we can take the Frankfurter and put hot peppers on it. That will be hot enough for most people, for most New England palates. But the hot spicy, every bite. You get 3 bites in and it's too spicy for you, you still got pretty much a half pound of hot dog.
Now, how did you decide to get into this business?
Well, it would seem like a simple business and a simple decision, but it wasn't quite that simple. I had to grow a bit, to tell you the truth, because before this, I was 8 years nuclear reactor operator, submarines. I was what they call, there was a name beyond reactor operations called engineering laboratory technician, and I was on 3 different submarines, and I was a lead engineering laboratory technician on the last submarine I was on. I came out of that and went to work for Star. I'm old, but I'm ambitious. What I do is I make hot dogs, and I want to make the best darn hot dog that you can find in any neighborhood. So, knowing that this is an old-fashioned, old-style Southern hot dog just kind of led me along the path, but I talked to some folks who had a lot more knowledge about business than me, large business, large-scale business, and one of the things that was said to me was, do something that's completely different. Even though you've learned to make the hot dog, what are you going to do business-wise that's different, so that this is something that only you can do? It's first-class eating, White House eating, in the rough. Make the hot dog, and I can teach anyone how to make one hot dog, but make 50 that are good, one right after the other, that becomes a skill. That needs a system. So create the system, create the supply chain, go directly to the manufacturer. We are direct manufacturer to street supply chain. As far as that goes, the fire pit right now is in charge of that supply chain. One of those take stock of yourself and see what you're good at, and I found out I was good at some things and not good at a lot of other things. What I did find out is that I like people. So when this opportunity came to help Speed, I went down there to help him expand his business, and we did that. We actually got his volume flow up because I was a little quicker, and we got customers and we got the cash flow back and made things work a lot better. But he really he wasn't ready to expand the way I wanted to expand, so my thought was my daughter's going to college. Let me go out and bite the bullet and do this. And someone asked me, says, so what can you do to a hot dog? I've had a hot dog. I had a lot of hot dogs. Have you ever had one of these hot dogs? I said, no. Well, you can't explain it. You know, there are things that are beyond words. And when you get to things that are beyond words, what you should do is stop using the words. So what I usually tell people is just come by.